What's up, guys? Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. If you guys want to support the channel, you can click on that whatnot link in the description down below. You'll get a free $15 whenever you sign up to spend on some magic cards, and you'll be supporting the channel whenever you do that. You can also follow me on Patreon. Not only is that the best way to support the channel, but additionally, you'll get more say in what decks I cover. Special shout out to my high contributing patrons. Newsome, you rock. Alright guys, let's talk about Thunder Junction, because there is some insane commanders here, so I thought we would just go ahead and rank them from what I think is most powerful to least powerful. But before we get into the list, I kind of wanted to start out with an honorable mention just because I love the commander, right? We're talking about Taii Wakeen. Now, I like this card because it's honestly a Boros control list that's super flexible. You could take the Spell Slinger, you could take the token strategy, and she just turns all of your effects into some massive damage. Now, if we take the Storm route, we're taking our Gutter Snipe effects and turning them into very lethal threats. So now, instead of dealing 2 damage whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you're dealing a total of 10, and that can be incredibly abusable using the token strategy as well. Instead of using a Gutter Snipe, we're using Impact Tremors, and now Impact Tremors is dealing a ton of damage whenever a token enters the battlefield. On top of that, she's got card advantage in the command zone, and then additionally, there's a ton of very flexible removal spells with her that can not only be, again, flexible because we can pump her ability up to make sure we can kill the creature exactly, and then replace that card, essentially turning all of our removal spells into cantrips, and then additionally, if we're going the token route, we can play some stuff like Pyrohemia, and then draw a ton of cards whenever we kill all our 1/1s. Again, very flexible, just wanted to give her an honorable mention. I absolutely love this commander. But now let's get into this list. At number 5, we have Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. Now this girl's extremely powerful and really breaks the court cycle, because the court cycle does a really broken thing if you're the Monarch, and if you're not the Monarch, it, gives you a lackluster effect. The thing that really breaks this is that Obeka deals combat damage, taking the Monarch back, and then we get all of those additional upkeeps. So we will always be the Monarch whenever we get our upkeeps from the court cycles. Additionally, we can just drop another court on the battlefield, and that will make us the Monarch as well. So this makes this deck extremely powerful. There's some courts that just will end the game outright if Obeka is big enough. And then again, the value we're generating off of getting additional upkeeps is just insane. Especially when your Phyrexian Arenas now drawing you like 3, 4, 5 cards a turn. It can just overwhelm your opponents very quickly. On top of that, there is a number of things that will make a creature with Menace just unblockable. And she can abuse the Suspend mechanic. Suspend's a really broken mechanic. There's a lot of cards that are balanced around you having to wait for those to go off, and Obeka just throws that out the window and you get the value immediately. So again, this commander generates a ton of value and is incredibly powerful. Moving on to number 4, we are going to have the Gitrog monster. Now, what I like about this guy is he's incredibly easy to set up. There is a ton of creatures in Magic that are very low CMC but have a ton of power, like Lupin Prototype or Phyrexian Soul Gorger. So all we have to do is attack, and then we're getting a ton of card advantage and putting a ton of lands into play. Another thing that makes this guy so powerful is he actually has haste, so you can cast him and then immediately get value, which is going to really catch your opponents off guard, and this deck just catapults you ahead of your opponents as well because you're putting additional lands into play. From there, it's super easy to end the game out with something like a Scute Swarm and then a Meat Hook Massacre to just kill the entire table. This deck will outvalue your opponents and will draw you a ton of cards, so it's going to be incredibly hard for your opponents to keep up with, and that's why he's going to find himself at number 4 on this list. Now, number 3, we're kind of getting into the broken commanders, borderline CEDH, if not very CEDH value, or, viable. Guyard, Mirror of Wilds. Now, this is essentially Kiki Jiki in the command zone, but we have a little bit of extra steps we have to jump through. The thing is, this deck is Naya, and it's not mono red, so we get additional colors on top of that. So now Kiki Jiki in the command zone and 2 additional colors. That's just going to be broken. If you guys don't know, and I am going to be talking about the most powerful versions of this deck because this is a, top 5 list, so I figured I should be talking about the most powerful version of these decks. effects. And if you don't know, Naya is a very powerful stacks color. So you can shove all the stacks effects in there, and then you shove the Kiki Jiki combos in there. We can play Midnight Guard, Village Bell Ringer to untap all of our creatures, and then what's going to happen is we just have to play a Heat Shimmer or a Molten Duplication, make a token copy of a Midnight Guard or Village Bell Ringer, and then we can generate an infinite board state. All we're missing after that is haste, and we've basically gone ahead and generated an infinite board state that we can kill the entire table with. Guyard's just not okay. Another thing about Guyard is he does have haste by himself, so you can get instant value off of him. And then additionally, he doesn't have to sit on the battlefield for a turn. So you can even cast Guyard and then go off that turn as long as you have enough mana. And then again, Naya does not have any issues generating a ton of mana. So this commander is just going to be extremely busted. Definitely watch out for it. I did build a casual version of Guyard that just tried to make as many token copies of my favorite creatures in Magic. So if you want to check that out, it will be in the description down below. I've already built a lot of these decks, so if I built one of these commanders, you'll find the full deck tech in the description down below if any of that interests you. Now, moving on to number 2, we have Loot. And the reason I ranked Loot so high is just because the card advantage is insane. All we have to do is play our normal ramp spells, like you got your Signets, you've got Soul Ring, then we can play Utopia Sprawl, and just right there with Loot, Utopia Sprawl, and a Signet, we're exiling the top 3 cards every turn. This is going to rifle you through your deck extremely fast. If you wanted to throw a CEDH core in this list and run Loot as the commander, it's essentially guaranteeing that you have Sylvan Library every single turn and you don't have to pay life. The only little bit of downside this has is it does exile them, so if you exile one of your key pieces and can't cast it, that's going to be gone, but it is very easy to pivot in these colors. There's a ton of win conditions in these colors, and at the end of the day, you can do anything with this deck, and that's why it's so powerful. It's just a card advantage piece in the command zone that gets you a ton of value, and that's very powerful in Magic. At the number 1 spot, surprise to no one, we have Stella Lee. Now the reason she's at number 1 is this girl has a ton of 1-card infinite combos. All you have to do is ensure that you're casting 3 cards a turn, which is not hard to do in Is It, especially in Storm strategies. I mean, rituals half the time will end you net positive in mana, not net negative, so it's not very that hard of a hoop to jump through to cast 3 spells a turn in Is It. And then once you do cast those 3 spells, this girl goes infinite with the kitchen sink. Cerulean Wisps will draw your entire library, untapping Stella each time, and then you can just go off with your combo. You have a 1-card infinite combo that untaps her and deals damage due to the Wicked Roll token. It's just a very efficient commander. Now, the thing you are going to want to run in this deck, if you take it to its highest power level, which I will be building a deck on the channel because you guys got that pre-con upgrade to 500 likes. You guys are insane, but I will be building that, is you're going to want to have haste, right? This girl is going to very quickly get herself a reputation for being kill on sight. So if you don't have one of those 3 spells that you cast per turn, give Stella haste. She will not make it around in the table if your opponents have anything to say out of it. Casting her and then passing the turn is just not going to be a viable strategy in this deck for very long. Now, you're going to get away with it at first, and maybe sometimes your opponents don't have anything, but they will do everything in their power to stop you from untapping with Stella. With that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would like to shout out my high contributing patrons, Prater, Newsome, Excessum, and Chicken Salad. You guys are amazing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying these videos. And with that being said, I hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors. I will see you in the next one.